So when we're talking about weight loss or weight management, we have to understand the principle of energy balance, because that's really what determines whether you're going to gain weight, lose weight, or stay the same weight. It's the amount of energy that is coming into and going out of your body system. And we measure energy in terms of calories. That's the amount of energy that you will have in a food, or it's the unit of energy that you are going to utilize for physical activity or for metabolism. So let's talk about the energy equation. The energy that's coming into your body system is all in the form of food that you eat and beverages that you drink. They all generally contain calories that can be used for energy or stored as fat. And when we're talking about the energy outside of the equation, there are three factors to consider. The first is your basal metabolism. That's the rate at which your body is using energy in a resting state. When you are not doing anything, your body is still using energy to regulate your heartbeat, to keep you breathing, to keep your mind active, to keep your hormones in balance, to repair all your body tissues, to do all the unconscious functions that are happening 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without any effort from your side. So that is your basal metabolic rate. You then have the thermic effect of feeding. Sounds a bit complicated, but essentially, when you are eating, it takes quite a lot of energy. If you think about a steak, for instance, you have to cut the steak into pieces, you have to chew the steak down, it gets swallowed, peristaltic movements require energy because it's a muscle contracting. When that steak reaches your stomach, it's going to be churned up, it's going to be mixed with digestive juices that your body has to produce and are released into the system. It then has to be absorbed as amino acids. So there's a lot of stuff that happens when you eat something. And all of those processes require energy. So there are certain foods, for instance, celery, where the digestive effort, the amount of energy that you're using to digest that celery, actually outweighs the number of calories that you're going to get from that celery. So in theory, if you're just going to be eating celery, even tons of celery, you are going to lose weight because your body is using more energy to digest it than the number of calories that you're going to get in. I wouldn't recommend it though. And then finally, the third component of energy out is physical activity. And that's logical. That's your normal daily activity, walking around, getting up from your desk, going to make a coffee, etc., as well as the planned physical activity that you do, sports or going to the gym. So those are the three components that comprise the energy out part of the equation. Your basal metabolic rate, the thermal effect of feeding, and your physical activity. And so if you think of calories in and calories out, if you want to maintain your weight, the number of calories that you're eating and drinking needs to be equal to the number of calories that your body is using for all of those activities. If you want to gain weight, then you need to have more calories coming in than what are being used. And if you want to lose weight, you need fewer calories coming in than what you are using. So this is the energy equation. And you need to understand the principle of it, although in real life it's not something that you can precisely apply, and I'll explain why later. So let's go into some detail about the energy density of certain food groups. If you think about your macronutrients, carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, these are the major contributors to the energy that's going to be coming into your body through what you're eating and drinking. And proteins, carbs, and fats have got different energy densities. Proteins, for instance, contain 4 calories per gram. That's the same as the energy density for carbohydrates. A gram of fat, however, contains 9 calories, which is double, more than double, what a protein or a carbohydrate contains. So fats are significantly more energy dense than carbs or proteins. Alcohol contains 7 calories per gram. So if you consider the density of carbohydrates and you consider the density of fats, alcohol is kind of in the middle. And so alcohol is relatively energy dense. And the difficulty with alcohol, tricky, is that you can easily get in a lot of calories. If you think about a glass of wine, it easily goes down and you can get a lot of calories in a short period of time with very little effort. So it's important to bear in mind that if your goal is to lose weight, then you would prefer to eat more of the foods that have a lower energy density, more proteins and more carbohydrates, but less fats and less alcohol in order to satisfy that energy equation. But remember that the food groups do metabolize in different ways. So even though carbohydrates contain a relatively low energy density, if you're eating a lot of carbohydrates, you're stimulating your insulin and you're stimulating fat storage. So there you've got to be a little bit smart. But if you're eating good amounts of proteins, then you can be pretty safe that you'll keep within a good energy density profile.